sit in my lap. I am starting a week vlog. The election has yet to be called as of right now, and things are looking, I'm not gonna jinx it, I just need something to like fully distract me this weekend, and I want to vlog my buddy reading that I'm doing this month with Milena over at Milena Reads. We're gonna read We've Always Lived in the Castle together. I think she started this a couple days ago, so together is a relative concept, but I'm excited to get this one started today. It's only like 150 pages, so I'm hoping that I can read this weekend. It'll be creepy, but in an escapist way in general. And then I'm gonna do a week vlog because I wanted to document some of my nonfiction November reading. Currently for nonfiction November, I am reading 2 books. The first one is Educated by Tara Westover, which I am reading for the Buzz prompt. I'm doing that on audiobook because that seems like, you know, the way to really read a memoir. And I'm about a third of the way through, I think. It's very interesting. I mean, like, I see why this is a super bestseller. I have like some holdups with memoirs, which is just my own weirdness. Educated is basically about Tara Westover, I think she's the 7th child of fundamentalist Mormons living in Idaho, and her dad is maybe a little bit mentally ill, but he is preparing for the end times, and it's about her growing up without access to an education and with like basically prepper parents. The other book I'm reading for nonfiction November is A History of America in 10 Strikes. So I thought that would be a good one to read for the movement prompt. And so far it's been really interesting. I've only read about 50 pages. They just went over the Mill Girl strikes, which are some strikes that happened in the early 19th century. It's definitely interesting. I will say that the writing style annoys me a little bit. Like, it's not beautiful writing, which I feel like for some nonfiction authors is definitely not the focus. Like, they just want to tell you what's what. But it's like not the most pleasant to read. All that being said, I am going to start We Have Always Lived in the Castle right now. I'm hoping to get a good hour or 2 of reading in this morning. I have a lot of life admin stuff to do today, and I thought that later in the week, if possible, I'm going to try to bring you guys to lab someday. I don't know if that'll be interesting to anybody. I thought it might be fun to show you guys like what it's like being a working scientist or whatever. I don't know. I don't want to bring you in when there are people around, but we are currently working split shifts, so I'm frequently in the lab very late at night for like social distancing reasons. So I might just sort of like sneak in and walk you around a little bit. And yeah, they just called it. I was in the shower, which felt rather anticlimactic. Reading-wise, I have gotten maybe like 40 pages into We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and I'm very much enjoying it. I originally wanted to read this one because the only Shirley Jackson I've read is The Lottery, but I read it over and over and over and over and over and over again in school, which sort of put me off her because I feel like The Lottery is a little bit heavy-handed. It's actually really nice out right now, so I think I'm gonna go eat lunch outside with a friend. Gotta do that outdoor socializing while it's still possible. Then I am gonna do a bunch of housework, as I mentioned earlier. I'm about halfway through Educated, and it is really good. It's probably gonna be a 4-star for me, I think. There are a lot of traumatic brain injuries in that book. I don't think that's a spoiler. That's just like what's going on. Want to say hi to the people? Side eye. Ooh, hi. Anyways. Hi. The people are over there. Can we get a boop? Boop. That's what I've been training her to do. It's not very useful, but it's fun. One more time. Boop. Boop. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Hello. Alright, I'm in my normal filming spot because it's 4:30 and it's already getting dark, but I've actually, rather than doing all the things I was supposed to do with my life today, I went out for lunch and then went and walked around with my friend because it was just like so nice outside. It was like 70 degrees, everybody's so happy. There's just like random caravans of taxis driving circles around Manhattan, honking, and everybody's cheering and stuff like that. So it just feels like it's been a long time since anybody's had anything to celebrate, so it's been a lot of fun. But I went down to Union Square. I got dough donuts. It's already sort of smushed. I also got a hibiscus one, which is a classic. Those were my impulse purchases of today, but I actually have to film tomorrow's video, my October wrap-up, which I always have a hard time with because I have a very bad memory, so by the end of October I don't really remember what I was reading at the beginning of October, but the light's already gone, so I gotta do that right now and then edit. And yeah, but I'll update you when I've actually read more in general. But it's been a good day. Yay! You ready to show off, Michelle? Leave it. Look at that good face. Look at that good girl. Oh, you're so good. Alright, go get it. Yeah! Hello. It's Sunday morning. It's actually might be Sunday afternoon by now, but I just wanted to give you an update about my reading in general. I'm very close to done with Educated. Even though I normally save audiobooks for the week, I, got really into it. It's a very good book. It's very compelling. I think that it probably will be a 4 stars. I will reiterate, I generally don't trust memoirs that much, and I think that has come out in this one a little bit, in that I am finding some of the reported dialogue a little bit did that really happen? But of course you just gotta trust the author in memoirs, I guess. But yeah, some of the conversations she has with her professors are like oh, look, we're using extended metaphors over 2 pages, and it's I don't think people really talk like that. But I think I just need to have different standards for memoir. It's not the same thing as a reported book. Anyways, so that being said, I have been mainly focusing on that, and I didn't end up doing a lot of my life admin stuff yesterday, so that's going to be a big chunk of today, which means that I think I'm going to finish Educated today. I haven't made any progress in We've Always Lived in the Castle since I checked in yesterday, but I'm hoping to read this evening. And I sort of tried to get through a little bit more of A History of America and 10 Strikes, but I think I'm really not enjoying it enough. And I've sort of pushed it farther than I normally do before DNFing, but I think I'm going to DNF it. It's a topic that I'm really interested in, but the writing style is just not engaging. I would really like to read a book about this topic, so if any of you have a good suggestion for a good history of the labor movement, please let me know. But I'm going to DNF it. In order to keep my nonfiction November choices going, I am picking up The Fire Next Time, which I have already read, but I like to reread every couple of years. And yeah, so time is in the title, and I already know I really enjoy this book, so it should be fairly quick to get through. That means that I still need, for Nonfiction November, I'll need a movement prompt again, so I'll look through my history nonfiction shelf and see if I have any about any particular political movement, and I'll need a discovery one, and I have a number of nonfiction science books, so I'll probably pick up one of those for that. So that's my update. I am going to continue listening to Educated right now and clean up my apartment. I'm just feeling fairly frazzled. I've let my life go off the deep end a little bit. So we're having a reset day, and that'll be good. But talk to you later. Michelle is being cute. Who's a good girl. She looks so sad when she's tired. Hello. Okay, so I'm stuck in lab. It's Sunday night. I just came in to do some basic, like, get my week started, right things. But then I was out of a whole bunch of, like, buffers and stuff that I had to deal with. So we're here. It's like 10 p.m. But I thought I would catch you up on what's been going on. Also, I'm not feeling too bad because I just bought this very fuzzy sweater, and it's like, it's so fuzzy. I love it so much. It's like I'm a little bit too hot right now, but I don't want to take it off. And then also, I like brought along my donut from dough yesterday, but all of the frosting like melted onto this. This looks so sad. So it's still a donut, so I'm enjoying myself in general, but I'm sad I lost all of the hibiscus frosting. If you know, you know, hibiscus dough donuts. So I thought I'd just do a quick reading update. I just finished Educated, and I like immediately went out and watched an hour-long interview with Tara Westover on YouTube because I feel like something happens at the end which I ended up feeling sort of bad about my like snootiness about memoirs in general, being like, oh, but how do you know if they're real or whatever. So I do feel like watching her interview sort of helped secure in my mind her multi-dimensionality, I guess. In the end, I think I'm going to give Educated 4 stars, the saddest donut of them all. Oh no. Sorry. As I mentioned this afternoon, I am planning on DNFing the ebook that I was reading, and I do need a new audiobook for this week because I was not actually expecting to finish Educated over the weekend. So I thought a good book to do would be Tough Liberal, Albert Shanker and the Battle Over Schools, Unions, Race, and Democracy. This is just a book that I've had bookmarked, you know, in the Overdrive app for a long time. I think this is going to be interesting. So I have about 2 more hours of work to do, but bio is sort of annoying sometimes where it's like a 5-minute thing and then I have to wait an hour and then it's another 5-minute thing. So I did bring We've Always Lived in the Castle. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more into this. And I actually thought, like, I said I might bring you to lab this week, and there is nobody in lab right now because it's 10 p.m. on a Sunday. So I thought I might, like, at least show you my bench and, like, talk a little bit about what I'm doing for my PhD. 5 minutes of science time with Emma. Yay! So I work on an antiviral protein called IFIDM3. And basically, when a virus infects you, first it has to infect a cell, right? So if we're talking about a cold or something, a virus that you inhale, you'll have a virus particle, which I am drawing not well. You'll have a virus particle, and it will attach to a lung cell, let's say. This is a cell. La-di-da. And in order to infect you, it has to invade this cell and release its viral contents that include its genetic material, and then it can replicate and burst forth and make a whole bunch of other viruses, which can then infect other cells. And your body has a number of different ways to deal with, you know, these invaders, some of which are specific to specific viruses and some of which are more general. So I'm working on a protein in the innate immune system, which is your immune response that reacts before your body knows what this invader is. That's a question mark. And the protein I work on is called ifidem3. We know that ifidem3 prevents the virus from releasing its genetic material into the cytoplasm. It is somehow blocking the virus at the membrane, but we don't really know how that works. So that's one big question that I've been working on. Because I'm a protein biochemist, I don't actually work with the virus itself. I don't work with the cell. I'm just working with the protein, this guy. Basically, I spend a lot of my time purifying protein out of cells and doing different tests to see how it functions by itself. And the rationale behind this is that form follows function, right? So if you know the form of something, you might actually be able to retroactively figure out what its function is. For now, I'll leave it at that, and we can go look at my bench. It's my bench. This is the reason why I'm so late today. Bacteria food. I had to pour some plates and then they have to solidify. It was a whole thing. But here are my little bacterias. Hello. Ready to do some work for me? Is this fun? I have a very messy bench. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm a millennial cliche, but I prefer to think of myself as a avocado hipster. I grew up in California, my friends. This has always been my life. Who's that? Who's that girl? Okay, hi. Fam, it's Monday afternoon. Today's been a weird day. I feel like I've just had a hard time like locking into work and being like, it's the work week now, let's do your stuff. Yeah, I thought I would give you a book update. I have been reading. I think that my inability to stay focused on one book is probably a little bit jarring to watch. Like, I think I've probably already mentioned like 5 or 6 books in the last 3 days of like things I'm reading and like want to read and whatever. I did, theoretically start this vlog to work on my buddy read. And I haven't made much progress in this because last night, instead of reading my buddy read or the other book that I said I was going to read for Nonfiction November, I filmed that video and then immediately picked up a third book, which is Jackson 1964. This is a book of essays, I guess, or it's more like reportage. It's basically collected journalism from Calvin Trillin. He's a New Yorker reporter that has been reporting on race issues and the civil rights movement since the 1960s. So basically I just read the title essay of this and it was very good. I feel like I'm actually really gonna enjoy reading this right now because even though you wouldn't think that there would necessarily be so much resonance in between like what he's talking about in 1964 Jackson, Mississippi, and like where we are now as a nation, I think that a lot of what was being discussed in that essay was very relevant to now. The title essay is about the Summer Project, which is basically a voter registration drive that happened in Jackson, Mississippi in 1964. I will say that because these are pieces of journalism that were published at the time, sometimes they don't necessarily have as much historical context as you might want going into the essay. They sort of assume you know what has happened before 1964, for example, and what has happened after 1964. But I did really enjoy the first essay. I don't normally power through essay collections in like a single month. I'll sort of drag it out over a long period of time because obviously I'm a little bit of a here and there reader, I guess. But yeah, I think that this would be a good book to get through for the movement prompt, since a lot of it focuses on the civil rights movement. That being said, for my audiobook, I ended up not going with Tough Liberal. I did listen to like 10 minutes of it, and the audio quality on that audiobook was just really bad. Like, I don't think I've ever, it sounded like it was some dude recording like a passion project underneath a blanket in his closet. I do normally listen to fiction on audiobook in general, so I don't have a lot of nonfiction books that I'm excited to read in that format, but I did download Brain on Fire, which is the story of journalist Susannah Cahalan, who, due to some sort of infection, ends up having a psychotic break, basically, and it's her sort of going back and piecing together the story of her psychotic break because she doesn't remember a lot of it. It's like, again, sort of memoir-y, which is, again, not really my genre, but in terms of nonfiction books that I want to read in audio form, it's sort of, I think, a good choice. So I'm sort of just going through my memoirs that I have bookmarked. Basically, I've read about an hour of it. I am probably not going to get to it until I go back to lab tomorrow again, but I am doing protein preps tomorrow, which takes like 12 hours, so I fully expect to finish that audiobook tomorrow. I was feeling lazy, so I got Chinese takeout with lots of sides, so hopefully I can make this into 2 meals. It's Tuesday night, quite late. I am done with work for today, so that's good. And as I expected, I did finish reading Brain on Fire this afternoon. I don't know if I'm just like in the mood to be not pleased by stuff right now, but honestly, I was a little bit, it was good. It was like a good medical mystery type story. It was interesting to read. Overall, I think I'll give it a 3. For that reason, I do feel like it fell flat in a lot of ways. And I think that this comes back to my overall problem with memoir, is that she could have done a lot better providing context for her experience. And obviously, I maybe this is my failing. Maybe I need to be more open to just spending time with one person and going along for the ride for their one experience. But a lot of aspects of her story were really specific to her. Like, her father sat outside of her hospital room all day, every day for like 28 days, making sure she got like the best care and stuff like that. I don't think that every book has to be acknowledging privilege at every time, but I think that providing some context to your one story does sort of help alleviate that feeling of like, well, okay, I'm glad that worked out for you. The main thing that I had a hard time getting behind with this book is the fact that she's a New York Post reporter, so in a lot of scenes throughout a lot of the book, they're talking about like how great the New York Post is and like what great journalism happens there, and I'm like, I'm not here to yuck your yum, but yuck, like, ew, we're calling the New York Post a paper now? So maybe I'm just too snooty. But it was a 3. I enjoyed it. Anyways, I think, I normally don't finish 2 audiobooks in 1 week, so I think I'm gonna, like, cool my jets a little bit. And if I do pick up a 3rd audiobook this week, it'll probably be fiction, because I don't want to get burnt out on nonfiction when we're not even halfway through the month. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I feel like I'm on a movie set. I don't know what all this smoke is. Or steam? There you go. It's rude. I'm starting to edit this monstrosity, but Michelle insists on being cute, so we have some meta-ness here. Oh, hello. I was about to turn in for the night, but then I realized that I haven't filmed an update in a little while. So it's Thursday. I have had a good reading week in general, considering I've actually ended up having quite a bit of work. I overbooked myself this week, but a lot of it has been good audiobook time, so that's, that works out. But yeah, so I think last time I checked in, I had just finished my last audiobook, Brain on Fire. I sort of went back and forth for like a day on what I wanted to listen to next. I was maybe gonna leave it at that for audiobooks this week, but then I was like, oh, I'm vlogging, I should go all out. So I did pick up a fiction pick, The Innocence of Father Brown by G.K. Chesterton. And this is actually a reread for me, but it's just like entertaining and comforting. Basically, this is about Father Brown, who is a Catholic priest who solves mysteries. They're all pretty, lighthearted in general. Nothing really bad happens. I feel like this could probably be in the category of a cozy mystery. It's a collection of short story mysteries, basically, and a lot of the stories revolve around the gentleman thief Flaubert. Otherwise, I've been sort of reading a lot of different stuff. I feel like I didn't realize until this week exactly how ADD I am with my reading, because it's just like I bounce around in between stuff and I'm like, yeah, whatever, this is fine. But now I'm like tracking what I'm reading and like reporting back. But these guys. So you might remember this from my last reading vlog, but I've read some more essays out of They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. I also read another essay out of Jackson 1964, which I really enjoyed. And I am about 50 pages from the end of We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I have really been enjoying this. I think I really like the setup of this book. It's basically about two sisters that live in a big mansion on the hill, and you find out quite early on that there was a great tragedy in their family, and basically their entire family was poisoned. And there's just like a lot of I don't know, creeping tension and an unreliable narrator and a lot of ambiguity and stuff like that. And like, I don't know why I like my fiction to be ambiguous, but I do. Like, I'm loving it. I think I am sort of moving through this quite slowly because there's a lot of dread, suspense type of stuff. A lot of building tension. How many ways can I say this? Like, whenever it gets, like, a little bit intense, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put it down. And then I put it down for a while, etc. This is the only one that I think I'm gonna, like, finish by the end of the week. But I've made some good progress in some other essay collections, which is good. And, yeah, I'm just gonna go to bed now. Good night. It is Saturday afternoon, and yeah, I was gonna wrap this up this morning, but then I went out and had like a little walking adventure instead. But I'm going to try to finish this up quite quickly because I know it's already going to be a very long vlog. So thank you for sticking with me. I hope you enjoyed some of the reading, some of the other stuff that we did, and I thought I would just go through what I read this week. The first book I finished was Educated, which was a little bit over 300 pages, and I gave that one 4 stars. Then I finished Brain on Fire, which is another memoir, and I gave that one 3 stars, and that was 250 pages. I DNF'd A History of America in 10 Strikes. If any of you have any suggestions for books to read about the labor movement, I would love to hear it. I think I read about like 50 pages out of that this week. I read quite a bit more of They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us, which I talked about in my last reading vlog. So I read about 40 pages of this, and I am still really enjoying it. I think it's a very strong collection of essays. I also, in the essay category, read I think 3 essays out of Jackson 1964, and so that was like 80 pages. I am really enjoying this one a lot. I think it might hit a 5-star for me. I really like that because it is journalism from the time period in which it's talking about. A lot of the pieces sort of focus on aspects of history that might not be the top line that you would get out of a history book or a more comprehensive review of like what was happening in the 1960s. Like the essay that I just read out of this was about the National Guard occupation of Wilmington, Delaware, which went on for almost a year after MLK was assassinated. And I think it mentions in like the postscript that it was the longest military occupation of a city since the Civil War. So just sort of like that isn't an aspect of the year of 1968 that was on my radar at all, but it's very interesting to sort of like have these different windows into what was going on because, you know, this reporter happened to be working on that story at that time, even though there were 1,000 other stories going on. So I'm really enjoying this collection a lot. Just wanted to give it a shout out. I started a 3rd audiobook this week, and that was The Innocence of Father Brown by G.K. Chesterton. I think when I last checked in, I was like, yeah, I remember this one. It's great. I love it. I did sort of forget that in the second half, Father Brown becomes sort of this weird racist mystic, which is disconcerting and unfortunate. And there's definitely some offensive language in here. There's definitely, like, it is, again, of its time, which... sigh. I think the stronger stories in this collection are in the beginning, but I still recommend, you know, read the first half. Maybe you can duck out before the second half, I guess. But I read like almost 200 pages of that on audio. And then last night I also finished We Have Always Lived in the Castle, and I really liked how this wrapped up. I think I had a bad taste in my mouth for Shirley Jackson, but now I really want to read some of her other stuff. Overall, all things considered, I did read over 1,000 pages, which is a very good reading week for me. I'm like normally actually quite a slow reader. In terms of nonfiction November, I finished The Buzz Prompt because that was educated, and I think I made a good... I guess I'm a 1/3 of the way into Jackson 1964, which I think I'm going to read for movement because it covers a lot of the civil rights movement. And I think if I don't find another discovery book that inspires me, I think Brain on Fire could count as the discovery prompt because it is a medical mystery and it talks about a disease that actually was only discovered in 2007, which in of itself is actually quite interesting. So yeah, I think I'm making really great progress on the nonfiction November challenges, which is exciting. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think, and what you're reading for nonfiction November. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.